Journalist, reporter, anchorwoman, nothing new so far. But within her profession, Mreeh has gone where no one before her has. A Druze woman anchoring Israel's television news on a main Israeli channel. Welcome.
Welcome. How are you? Thank
Good.
you.
To understand the magnitude of your achievements, let's understand the community you represent.
Yes.
There are about 8 million people in Israel. The Druze community is about 130,000 strong. Who are they?
140 exactly, 140,000. It's something like less 2% of Israeli population. We are an Arabic speaking, esoteric, ethno-religious society. And there is something like 1.5 million Druze members around the world. We live in the Middle East. We live also in US, in Canada, Australia, Germany, even in South America.
Culturally speaking, is a career in the public eye with visibility to the masses something one would expect from your community?
It's important to say that in our religion we have equal rights for women and men, and we are the only religion in which women can ask for and get a divorce without even her husband's approval. But socially speaking, there are still lots of limits on women. For example, religious Druze women in 2018 are not allowed to have even driver's license.
Let's go back. How do you get started in broadcasting?
My mother remembered me as a child sitting in front of a mirror and broadcasting news. I interested in this media. I knew from very young age the huge power of these small screens, and I knew that this is something that I want to do. But it wasn't easy. People didn't accept it. And last year, when there was the formal announcement of my appointment, when I started to broadcast also news in Hebrew, I was the first non-Jewish woman to do that.
So you broke a glass ceiling or two.
Yes, another glass ceiling. So I received thousands of blessings. People called me and were very excited to hear about my appointment. And the most touching one that I received was from the spiritual leader of the Druze community in Israel, Sheikh Muwafaq Tarif. He called me and I cried. He told me, "I'm proud of you, and you symbolize the successful Druze woman who thrive and succeed in her career life and continuing to maintain your unique identity," and it set a precedent.
What does your success mean to the state of Israel?
You know, being a minority within a minority, being an Israeli citizen but not Jewish, being an Arab but not Muslim, being the successful career liberal Western woman, and at the same day the simple woman who participate in traditional ceremonies, funerals and weddings, or even asking my mother-in-law how to cook traditional dishes like the well-known Druze pita. You know, I'm a complex or a mix of all these factors, and it enriches me, enriches my identity, enriches or expand my opportunities, and it helps me to deal with things differently. And it is a model of successful story that also women, also minorities can be in high position in the Israeli media.
Do Hebrew speakers expect you to champion Israeli issues, and do Arab speakers expect you to champion Arab and Palestinian issues?
My identity, I am in the middle. And when there was the formal announcement of my appointment, I received a blessing from the two sides, from the two worlds. On one hand, from the right-wing Israelis community, and on the other hand from the neighboring countries, including Ramallah, West Bank, who talked about my appointment. So I'm in the middle, but I need to separate. I am not a Druze woman here. I am a journalist who must reflect the reality as is in a neutral way. And I'm not Israeli, I'm not Palestinian, I'm journalist.
Gadeer, the story that had the most impact, the story that hit you both on an intellectual basis and that actually paved the way for the future, what was it?
Any stories related to this conflict, to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, touches me. It touched me the most. We have stories sometimes of innocent people, Felice, people children, young generation, who really don't want to be involved in this conflict, but they're forced because of certain circumstances. I really don't want to address now the political aspect, but it is tough to see sometimes the young generation experiencing tragedies. And sometimes, look, for example, in Syria, we have millions of people, innocent people, families, children, who were uprooted from their homes, who are experiencing tragedies, terrible tragedies, who are being exposed to horrific scenes. And thinking about the impact, the influence of all of this on the young generation in the Middle East, these are the most stories that we need to stop and think about them.
Is there any topic that really bothers you that you feel doesn't see the light of day here in covering stories in Israel?
Stories related to Arab community. Last summer there was a child, he was kidnapped by a crime family, and no news agency opened the news with this item because he was Arab, and his name was Karim Jumhur. He was a Jewish boy, and I imagine that if he was a Jewish boy, maybe all the media will cover his story 24/7. So sometimes stories related to Arab community, to the social, sometimes the struggles, what they are dealing with, is not reflected in the proper way in the Israeli media.
Do you feel that you have impact in changing that?
Yes, of course, and this is what we do in Makan. We belong to IPBC, to the Israeli Public Broadcasting Corporation, and we have our daily Arabic news. And our audience at first, it means we broadcast from Israel and to the Middle East, but we concentrate on the stories of the local Arab people, society, their stories, the issue that they are dealing with, because they are our audience at first, the local Arabic community.
Should the Arab community become more politically active?
Sometimes, I see females from my society who are very smart and very clever and can work in any company, but they prefer to stay the simple Druze or Arab women. So sometimes we should work harder in order to succeed, in order to integrate into the Israeli society. So we have been integrated very well as Druze, and I think that the Arab community, or on the other hand, maybe the state, Israel, could use us to its advantage and send a message to the other minorities that we are a success story of integration.
Have you ever considered following a number of journalists into politics?
I never say never. Who knows where we will be in 5 years? We believe in destiny as Druze. Sometimes things is predestined. But maybe yes, because as a politician you can influence more, you can set the agenda much easier when you are in the political arena, when you are in the heart of the, although this is a patriarchal atmosphere, but look what happened last week. Women in Israel made history by a record number. We have 11 women, Israeli women, who were elected to head cities and be member in the local councils. It is 5 more than the previous election.
And on a local level, looking at your community, if you had to pick something that really needs more help in the Druze community, what would it be?
To work on women, to strengthen women in my society. And when you see women who succeeded in her career life, who enjoyed the self-fulfillment, she will be also a better member, more successful social member. And it is a win-win situation. This is a circle of successful in any society, not just in Druze society.
Gadeer Mreeh, thank you for breaking glass ceilings and for joining us here at the Media Line.
Thank you very much, Felice.